You're watching the Original Music Atlanta podcast.
We are back, episode 9. This will be the last episode before the show at the 10 High. We're going to be playing March 12th down at the 10 High at the Atlanta Music Scene Showcase. Today, we've got Vices of Vanity, and they will be going on at 5 p.m. So, hey, how are you guys doing?
Great. What's up?
How's
it going?
Hey.
You got Raymond Hems and Rick Gathman here. We both play in local bands around town, and we just wanted to have different bands on. Come on, tell your story, where you're from, and all that. And typically, we lead off with the name, Vices of Vanity. What does it mean, and how'd you come up with it?
Oh, man. I've had that name for a really long time. I don't know, just kind of, I guess at the time it was just sort of,
what was it? Hotmail days?
oh, bad, yeah.
Hotmail days.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like probably 20 years old, that name. Yeah.
Well, you brought it to me and you said, well, what about this? And I was like, well, there's a V and then we could put a little O and another V and it kind of looks like vampire fangs,
Right.
but also it's like, V, voluptuous.
Yeah.
It's kind of, it works. And so that's how I was like, let's go with that one. VOVs is killer. So we could definitely kind of get that in people's heads and minds. And it's so visual that,
it's
what we went with.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
It's a good name.
So you were kind of, and this, you're Amy, you play bass.
Yes.
And so you immediately kind of started to think about graphic design, right? And how it would look. But Vices of Vanity, to me, it sounds like kind of something that a lot of youngsters could learn about social media or something. Don't be so vain, right?
It's kind of, I mean, that's the premise of where it sort of started from, is that at that point in my time, because I was actually in my 20s, I was probably like 22 when I came up with it initially. And it was like all about that, I was kind of at that point in my life where I was just learning about how, I don't know, the world really was and things were different. And, it's just like all these vices and just, I don't know. I'm from New York and Jersey and stuff. So it's very, very vain out there, and there was just a lot of, I don't know, just money. And I don't know. It just kind of like was learning that, I don't know. I just didn't like how people were. And it was just
Right.
like they weren't happy. And I don't know. It's just, there's a lot to it. I guess there's a lot of layers.
Yeah, absolutely.
But, it kind of came from that being like, whoa, Vices of Vanity, and then it just kind of stuck.
Yeah, I like it. Being from New York, you're Lynnay, Della, Luce.
Yeah.
That's not Italian at all, huh?
Not at all. Not at all.
What part of New York?
Actually Jersey, but like North Jersey.
Sure.
So yeah,
Joyzy.
Jersey.
Nice.
Joyzy.
What about you, Amy? Where are you from?
Pretty much here. Born
Atlanta?
in Florida, but
Okay.
I've pretty much grown up here, and I just got a place literally probably 5 minutes from where I used to live as a kid, which is kind of mind blowing.
Wow.
Wow.
I said I'd never come back, and
Yeah.
I'd never be back here, but I guess I stayed. I stayed in Atlanta.
Why? See, I'm from Cincinnati, and I say the same thing. I'll never go back up north because, it's just cold.
Well, that's north.
So what is it you didn't like about, or made you say you wouldn't come back here? Just because Florida is Florida?
Yeah, well, Florida is a little nicer weather too.
Yeah,
I mean, this is not bad. We actually have decent weather here, but it just didn't have. I had a kind of a rough childhood. It wasn't the best memories of the area. I went to a lot of different schools. It was just a lot of
I get it.
moving around and just not always the best. Neighborhoods not always the best communities, but I thought at the time, you're a teenager, you're rebelling, and you're like, but also as part of that too, I was very rebellious.
Yeah.
As a kid.
Yeah.
I was like,
No.
I was like, screw this place.
Hence the rock and roll band.
The
right?
angst.
Yeah. There's
Yeah.
quite a
So-
bit of angst in a lot of Vices
There
songs.
is.
So
There
going
is.
to that, what's someone asks you, what do you consider the genre of your music? I can see that you have a Hailstorm T-shirt on, which when I first was listening to the song, I was thinking, that sounds a little like Lindsay Hale. So,
Yeah.
Yeah,
and then I
like
saw your shirt.
Hailstorm.
So
Joan Jett,
There you
AC/DC,
go.
rock and roll.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I hear all that in
Yeah.
there. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think we have a little bit of Rage Against the Machine.
Yeah.
Let's try to bring some of that in with some of the
Sabbath.
stuff that I do. Some Sabbath with tones.
Okay.
Also, I think really what it was, we went to a Dorothy show, and just hearing that the sound that they did with their first album, just was like, we both looked at each other and was like,
That's it.
that's it. So like, that's the base. Let's take that. Obviously, one thing I've learned about songwriting is you're going to get back, your influences are going to creep in,
Sure.
whether you want them to or not. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh yeah, that song sounds like whatever. And I didn't realize it. But yeah, so that was really Dorothy, I think was.
Yeah, that was the main one. I think that we were like, that was the one that we could bring to the table to all the members and be like, hey, like this, we're
Right.
gonna,
Right.
Big
Now-
drums,
Yeah. No,
boom chuck.
yeah. Now, speaking about the members, unfortunately, Hunter Cook is on drums. He couldn't be here, right? And then Amy, you play bass, and then Lynnay, you lead singer and play guitar.
Yep.
Okay. When you record, the songwriting process, you just talked about songwriting a bit. How do you guys do your songwriting process? You just start with a riff, then lyrics, or like everybody kind of just, it happens any kind of way?
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I'll let Lynnay talk first, and then I'll kind of.
Yeah, like there's definitely, it's not just one way, but a lot of times what I'll do is I'll just kind of come up with some ideas because I do recording and stuff. So I'll just kind of start to lay down some ideas and I'll kind of throw like fake drum beats on there just to give an idea of like, oh, this is halftime, this is really fast, whatever. And then no bass because I won't even bother with that. But
I told her to get off the bass.
Yeah.
She's not allowed over there.
So I just kind of like, a lot of times I'll just kind of record this thing, throw it to everybody, be like, hey, here's an idea. And then we've been working together for so long. We've all been working together for like, I don't know,
7,
10 years.
somewhere in there.
Yeah. So we just kind of know. And then it's just like, Hunter, you do your blah, blah, blah thing. And then Amy, you do a boo doo dot, and it's just kind of like, I don't know. So I kind of, a lot of times, like I said, it's probably say maybe about like 75% of the time I'll bring to the table like this general idea, and then we'll shape it and mold it, and then we'll kind of record that, and then we kind of come back and we're like, okay, hey, and then we all work together to kind of shape it.
And sometimes it's pretty quick, and then sometimes it is something that the song takes a little bit longer to do. And
I think we write them fast, but to actually get them where we want them takes a few months.
It does. We're super, I mean, at least for me, I'm very detailed oriented. So especially like, what is exactly the bass is doing? What exactly is the drums doing? What are we together? Are we going to do something separate? What is vocals doing? Is this going to step on other parts of the song, or is it going to add something? Is there, parts that we can change to be more impactful, or stops, or whatever it is? So that's really when you get to the band process and you bring a skeleton of a song to a band, that's where that really starts to come together.
Yeah.
And kind of the other half would be, I'd kind of come up with a riff and I'd bring that, and then we would build whatever the chorus is around that and kind of go from there.
Hard Way is probably the biggest
Hard
one
Way.
where Amy kind of came up with that riff and then just kind of changed
Hard
it
Way.
or a little bit, or
Loud
slow it
as
down.
well.
Yeah, speed it up. Like,
Ray wrote all the music for Giza Is Gone, and we've been together, I don't know, maybe a year now with this band.
Yeah.
This particular band, and we're still kind of changing parts.
Yeah.
At least I am.
Yeah. I do too. I'm still writing different melodies on my solos in the middle of the solo, but luckily we're recording them, whether it's video at a live show or, and then you always have the ability to go back and watch and listen, and it's almost like a football team where you go back on Monday after the game and examine the film
Exactly.
and see. Amy, you had just said something about you're pretty detail oriented. So what I'm finding, and this is within my own personality. So what I'm finding, meeting and talking to all the different musicians, you have to somewhat have an OCD trait in you to detail, edit, and record a song, and you almost have to be OCD, but again, at the same time, I think musicians are also ADD. So they're ADD, OCD, ACDC.
Yes.
All the acronyms.
Yeah. So
LOL.
Yeah. LOL. Yeah.
Well played.
Yeah. Really. Lynnay, you just talked about recording. What do you use at home? Obviously, all this is self-produced.
Well, no, we have producers that do, our final recordings, but we do a lot of our demo stuff. So which is nice when we work with producers because we come with like it's all done and they can literally be like, oh, we're going to cut this bridge in half. We're going to move this. Let's double this chorus. And they can literally just put it out. And then, I don't know, we like to be really prepared when we go into the studio because time is money.
It costs money. Yeah.
But I just use Logic and stuff and just kind of like
question.
I just do a lot of my songwriting process from there. I'm getting more into, I went to school for audio engineering back in New York City. But again, that was like 20 years ago. So now it's all different, but it's kind of all coming back to the same thing. Like it's funny that I can literally use like an SSL console, but it's just digital. I'm like, oh, I know this. I remember this from school. Cool. Right. And it's just like, oh, but it's just use the plugin and now I know what I'm doing. It's kind of funny.
Yeah. So musicians that might be just getting started and stuff, the SSL console, you're what you're likely talking about. She's talking about an actual physical board, and that would be the channel strip. But nowadays they've got plugins that mimic, just like anything else. They've profiled or however they do it, but they make a plugin that will have these same channel strips as these $50,000 to $100,000 boards.
Oh yeah.
And what
crazy.
A difference they make, right?
Yeah, it's nuts.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But I mean, if you're just starting out, I mean, that's like kind of next level. We're getting ready to record or put a single out and you're bringing this to a studio or producer, that's like that little extra polished level. But if you're just starting out, I mean, I just get something as simple. I use Logic as well. You can put basic ideas down enough, where you can then start hashing that out, play it through, see how it plays live, see how it sounds, play it back, whatever, with just something as basic as just the basic Logic package itself without going through getting any of the additional packaging and stuff. And and sometimes if you work with somebody, a producer that's good enough, they'll take that vision and make it a reality without kind of having to spend a lot on plugins and stuff like that. But, those are always fun.
Yeah.
Too much fun.
They're a lot of fun.
Take my money.
But if you're, if you're kind of like, well, I'm in my bedroom living with my parents and I want to write a song. And what's the easiest way to jump into that? A lot of people use they'll use the phones. Actually, I just saw somebody put another song out just strictly recorded on iPhone.
Wow.
So it's pretty crazy.
Like the technology's there now where you don't have to drop a lot of money. I mean, even 5-10 years ago, that was still like you'd need like a $4,000 computer to do this stuff. And now you're like, oh, I could just drop like, whatever. A lot of these computers are, pretty capable. Like $1,000 Mac can like do a lot of stuff. It's kind of crazy. And like just like we were talking about the plugins, you go to Waves, it's like $30.
$30
sale. And you're like, whoa, it's so cheap. Like,
You can also spend a lot of money there. You're like, buy this, buy this.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. Logic is around $199 at the on the Apple Store app, whatever, and it's so powerful. For example, and I think my rocker guys are gonna kick me or shame me a little bit, but I am a huge fan. I ran across the Billie Eilish documentary on Netflix or whatever it was on, and you want to talk about somebody that's just in their bedroom and they have a teammate,
her and her brother,
teammate, brother, and Logic, and just an open palette of creativity, and look what you can come up with. You know?
It's crazy.
So
yes, definitely.
That is definitely.
So speaking of starting out, what's the name of your first band that you were ever in?
Yeah, the very first.
Ooh. Mine was Body Heat Activated.
Wow.
And we had shirts back. You remember the shirts in the 90s? And they would change colors as we had those shirts. Yeah, we had those shirts.
Was that
the 90s? Whole theme.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. I thought that was the 80s. I didn't know they still had those in the 90s.
They have early 90s. Yeah. And this was, I was super young.
Okay. I apologize for asking this, and you don't have to answer because it's not, I know it's not polite to ask a lady, but I ask everybody on every podcast their ages because I just want to know kind of where they're at genre wise.
Well, let's go with this.
We can bypass that.
Let's go with this. Let's say, are you what it was your era of when you first recognized that you wanted to be a rock star?
Fair enough.
What era was it? 90s,
there you go. That's
80s,
a great question. Yeah, that's
2000.
the way to do it. No, mine was probably 93 3 when all like the Nirvana came out, Smashing Pumpkins came out, Alice in Chains came out. That whole year where you had the 6 to 10 albums that defined the 90s.
Yeah.
I feel and that for me, because I was very anti whatever my parents are listening to.
Right.
Hell no.
Right.
So, again, going back to the rebel stuff. So I was like, I'm not going to listen to 80s and I'm not going to listen to 70s and screw the 60s. I was very like, no. So 90s was definitely, and then I would turn up Korn. Korn was one of the biggest albums for me. Their self-entitled Korn. And I used to turn up that first song Blind, and I used to just turn it up so loud my parents would just hate me, and I would just repeat.
It's a good
so
one.
bad.
Yeah. Mine was definitely like No Doubt. When No Doubt came out and Gwen Stefani did Spiderwebs, I was like, that's what I want to do for the rest of my life. That was like MTV saw that video and was like, that's it.
That was good. Yeah, it was good.
Back.
Was it with Gwen? Was it the fact that she was just a banging front woman?
Yeah, it was like everything. She just had the whole package. She looked cool. She had like a great personality. She sang awesome. The songs were like, poppy but angsty, and just like I don't know, it's the whole package.
Plus a kick-ass band backing her. Did you know that the drummer for that band was like had been playing drums for like a year when they recorded that album?
Yeah, I believe that.
That is crazy. I mean,
but by the way, the bass player on there is so underrated. Oh my goodness,
Tony Fowler.
You go try to learn some of that stuff. You're like, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
They really all are kind of underrated.
Yeah, they're not like Tragic Kingdom is still one of my favorite albums.
They're not underrated. How many Grammys does No Doubt have? Somebody look at
it. How many do you hear people talking about them today?
No, they talk about Gwen was obviously the.
I was gonna say Gwen,
star,
for sure, man. Yeah.
So earlier, Lynnay, you were talking about some of the stylistic sounds that you have, and I heard Sabbath in there. So my question, being a guitar player, is, do you standard tune? Do you drop tune? Are you, what's your deal there?
Well, we started out standard, and then like we drop tune like hard way to drop D, but now the new stuff that we're recording is all in drop C.
Right.
So for the most part, I mean, who knows? I mean, we're still in the process of writing our new stuff, but we've got 3 songs right now that are in drop C, and it's kind of that like melodic-y, like kind of like Deftones. Sort of,
wow. Nice.
Yeah.
Now,
we're getting a little heavier.
Yeah. When you drop tune like that, are you changing your what strings, gauges, and what type of guitar? What's your main axe?
I use a Pod Go and a Helix, so I can, if I need to, depending on the show, if it's something where it's like, hey, you've got a short set, in and out, kind of like how 10 High is going to be, it's like, I'll just keep it simple, one guitar, and then I just like drop tune on the pedal thing.
Oh, wow.
And I'll do that. But I have an Explorer that's tuned to drop C, and I have the Ernie Balls Slinky. I think it's like the heavy bottom ones. I forget the exact gauge, but I want to say, so it's, I want to say it's like a 56 or something like that on top, but then it's
10 to 56,
Yeah, something like that. So
you just need to remember to hit that button like when you got to go back to because I've been on the road with nationals.
We set it up so it's kind of like, okay, so here's all the standard stuff. Okay, now we go to drop D, and then it's like, oh, now I press the button to engage for like.
So you're not back and forth, back and forth.
I've got enough to do on stage between singing, playing guitar, doing solos, like pushing buttons. So it's like I try to make it as easy as possible.
I see people doing it with the manipulating with the transposer, and I use a Kemper, and it's in there. It can do it, but it's
not as. I mean, you can hear the artifacts and stuff, so it's like meh. Well, like I said, when you're in a pinch or like because like or like we're doing when we open up for like nationals, sometimes you're at the Masquerade, same difference. Like you have a short set, so you're just kind of like I don't have time to switch out stuff, or I don't know. It's just,
they're like you got 10 minutes, get off the stage.
Or like you're like, am I gonna get like a legit sound check here? I don't know. So you just kind of what bottom line is just make the sound guy happy. So I just try to make it as easy.
The old throw and go. I definitally got to keep the sound man happy.
That might be some of the best advice.
I think that's like the number one, like musicianship 101.
He can make you or break you.
That's true. Yeah. He's the most important guy in the band.
Make you or break you, man.
Yeah.
I always try to get their name, shake their hands, meet beforehand, and then thank them at the end of every show. It's definitely
even with the club owners. you
Yes.
know,
Yeah,
especially
same
with the club
thing.
owners.
because we're all working together, you know, they need us, we need them.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Be
Yeah,
easy,
I
be
mean-
easy to work with. You know,
Yeah.
when you can, a $20 handshake is awfully nice.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
those types
there
of
you go.
things. But yeah, it's a symbiotic relationship. You know, I was trying hard to get symbiotic in today.
I was trying to help you, but
you know, so
You did it.
yeah, I got it in there.
You got it in there.
such a wordsmith.
Yeah. So you have already mentioned that you've been together as a band. Did you play last year at this festival?
We played every year, I think.
Yeah.
It's been every year.
I've
yeah.
seen you guys down there. I remember seeing you guys down there, and it's finally nice to actually be able to talk to you. Like I said, it's very difficult to have intellectual conversation when there's, you know,
Yeah.
a crowd,
Oh, yeah.
a tight room and a loud room, you know.
Mhm.
Sure.
But you've been playing in Atlanta for how long?
I guess like 8 years or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
8, 9. I don't know.
What other
Yeah,
venues
7,
have
8,
you been
9,
at?
10, I don't know.
I think for me it's close. It's more like 7. I think for you it's more like 10. I think
Yeah, I
you
guess it
definitely
depends,
started
like-
a little bit earlier.
Yeah, because I do. We also do cover stuff. So if I included cover stuff, I've basically been doing that since I moved here, which is about like 13 years, 14 years.
Right.
So is that all you do? Music?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
What other clubs do you play other than Masquerade with your original
I think
stuff?
we played everything
Most
in Atlanta,
stuff, yeah.
in Georgia.
At some point in time.
Yeah. Some of my other cover bands, I'm also in a Smashing Pumpkins tribute called Siamese Dream.
Yeah.
And with that tribute, we play casinos, we play all across
yeah.
the country. So that's stuff that, you know, that's more Live Nation stuff. So we need the Live Nation venues and stuff like that, tours and stuff out that way. So we're hoping to get on that. It's a little harder with, you know, trying to DIY with a non-signed, independent band that's unsigned without a label,
Yeah.
as well as not a affiliated Live Nation band. That's a whole nother ballgame
Yeah.
when you start talking about touring. So right now it's just kind of focusing on let's just do a short run. Let's do a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, you know, within 4 to 6 hours, you know, from Atlanta, and then kind of come back and try to do that. So that's hopefully where we're going to go now that things have light up. You know, COVID's, you know, we're getting kind of, people are coming out finally.
Yeah.
I feel like we're starting to come out on the other side of that. And, you know, shows are, I don't know. There's more demand for bands again. For a while there, it was, you know.
Well, that brings me to another kind of question was, well, first thing was, as soon as you said the word Live Nation, the first thing that came to my mind was COVID. But during COVID, we just learned that you do music for a living. What did you guys do? I mean, how did you get through that?
I don't think we stopped. I think Georgia shut down for 8 weeks, maybe.
I mean,
and then it was back up where clubs were back open. So if you were doing like a cover gig, you might be able to get in outside the perimeter and get a gig as early as like, what was it, March? So April. So by May, I think.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, my approach was like, because we obviously had the 6 weeks of shutdown where you couldn't do anything.
Sure.
Everybody was stopped, you know. And then when they started to open up the like bars and restaurants again, I think it was like May 4th or 5th or something,
like
right
May.
in the beginning of May. And because I do a lot of acoustic covers and all that stuff. So I went to, because I'm friends with the people that, you know, these venues or bars and restaurants, you know, they're my friends. We've known each other for a long time. So the ones that I was close to, I was just like, yo, look, I'll play for free, man.
Yeah.
Like, just give me food, give me beer.
Yeah.
Well, I know you're at
Get out.
partial. That was when it was like 25% capacity.
Right.
So they were like, cool, you're one person.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, we'll just pay you in beer and whatever. And I mean, I know I had some people, like a little bit of backlash with some people being like, whoa, what are you doing?
There was definitely
what else am I gonna
backlash.
do, you know?
Yeah.
And it was crazy because people wanted to have music so bad that they were just like tip jar,
Yeah,
and they knew.
sure.
They were like, man, you're a full-time musician, and they took
Yeah.
care. And when I got home, I wouldn't have even known that I didn't, like, you know, make my full pay, you know, because people just took care of it. And it was kind of cool to see that camaraderie and just how much people really appreciate music. You know, it's kind of like it got taken away, and then everybody was like, oh my gosh, and then they were so giving back. So yeah, for me, it was like I had the 6 weeks off, and then I just went right back out there and just started doing stuff, and it just didn't even phase me really. It's just that I was like, yay, 6-week vacation,
Right,
and
right.
I learned how to loop a little bit
It's a little
better.
harder for
Yeah,
me.
I
So I
bet.
will say it was a little harder for me being a bass player. I can't just go out and do an acoustic solo gig.
Yeah, I understood.
That definitely was a little different for me. And more specifically, you asked about like the Live Nation thing and how that kind of rolled out. That was pretty brutal.
Yeah.
I have to say, we went to where, things were like booked and then last minute canceled
Right.
because there was something that
Oh, yeah, that was
popped
the thing,
up.
definitely.
And then you would get, okay, well, we're only doing X capacity. And that was a thing. And then we went from that to being like, okay, here are the pods. So people would have to buy the little pod seats.
Yeah.
And then you had to
Forgot about
sit and you had to walk, like there's X amount of space between each of these pods. We did a couple shows like that. It was really awkward.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you're so used to people coming up
Energy.
and just you rocking it and they're just sitting there staring at you in their
Staying
pods.
in their circle.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they couldn't even stand up. Like they weren't even allowing people to stand up or do any kind of movement. It was really weird. And if you had to go to the bathroom, they had to organize that. It was so weird. We couldn't go see people. We couldn't meet them. We couldn't shake their hands.
It felt like kindergarten, didn't it?
Yeah, it was really weird. So it went from that to, okay, X capacity limits. And then it went from the capacity limits to a scattered patchwork of this place still does mask, even though we're like a year and a half out from the initial shutdown. And this place doesn't give a shit. And
Right.
you can just, there's a barrier that's maybe only 4 feet from the stage. And that's the only kind of barrier you have.
Right.
And we did one show pretty early on and it was, I'm not going to say where it is, but it was out there and it just really those rules weren't really there. And by the time we started playing, the barrier had been pushed all the way up to the stage and people were climbing, girls
Right.
were climbing up onto the stage and touching and trying to do,
Yeah.
and it was interesting. So that and then you go from that to the pods for the next show. It was really weird.
But, yeah, you had just said also, those not familiar with the Atlanta area, we've got, OTP and ITP, right?
Yes.
And
Exactly.
you just traveling from the inside the perimeter and outside the perimeter, just traveling from the inside the perimeter 5-10 miles outside the perimeter, rules were totally different.
Oh yeah.
And
Totally different.
it was so weird. It was so
Yeah.
weird. So weird.
We would do a show, up in Rome or something.
Yeah.
And then the very different would be we'd go to Asheville, downtown Asheville, and it'd be completely different,
Yeah.
and also by state.
Yeah.
So that was crazy. But also the other side, the backside of that was once things did start opening up, Live Nation was like, we're going to get all of our A bands in now. And so that they just stuffed the pipeline with all of the bigger names,
Right.
which, is fair enough. They have contracts in place and stuff. So then if you weren't like an A or a B list band, you were C or D, which a lot of the tributes are going to kind of fall into that category.
Right.
A lot of the original, if you're not like Hailstorm or if you're not like whatever, you're going to fall into those categories. There was a pipeline sort of stoppage or traffic jam for probably at least it's still happening now. Like we're still in a traffic jam with that. So, we just got this year. So we're 3 years out?
Yeah.
And we just got like our first kind of Live Nation bookings happening finally, but it took that long. It's crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. And you have to also think, man, could you imagine January, February of 2020? You know how far in advance we book shows on our scale, to have a tour booked for, say, I don't know, John Mayer or, Billie Eilish or any of these type of acts, I'm sure had 2 years pre-booked of these shows. So when everything got canceled and kept getting canceled, all of that, like you just said, just got shoved down the line. TBD, date to be determined.
Right.
And like you said, it's just now starting to clear up, which is insane.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, yay.
Any crazy stage stories or crowd stories or gig stories?
All right. Well, I would have to say every show, 2 things happen. One is something breaks.
yeah.
Something always breaks.
Usually it's Hunter with his drums somewhere, somehow.
Hulk smash.
Yep. Lefty smash. Smashy smash.
Is he a lefty?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am too, but
And
I
then he
play a
plays
right-handed kick.
open-handed.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is good and bad with production when you're trying to do a lineup and they have to reorganize the drums and re-mic them. And so
that's why the production break is after us.
That's right. So if you look, that's because of us.
I'm a chameleon when it comes to that. I'll play whatever setup, and then if
cool.
And then if we do something like if I went down to 10 high or something, I'll bring my ride with me and throw it over there, leave everything else right where it's at, and then when I'm done, pull it off. You know what I mean?
I was wondering who that band Production Break was.
They're great. They're fabulous.
I was like, why did they get the longest set?
So what kind of what would break?
Oh, bass drum pedal. A lot of times. Sticks. Flying sticks will fly after the first song.
Yeah.
Bits of sticks.
You'll get stuck in the back of
start
your
flying.
hair and stuff.
Well, that means things are going good.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
Unless a pedal breaks.
If it doesn't break,
pedal.
it wasn't a show.
Right.
Stands. Mostly a lot of drum stuff. I don't think we really break. You don't break too many strings.
You said now it's going to happen.
Oh man, knock on wood.
No.
Shit.
Before I went to a big rack, I had a China on my right side, and we were playing at Mad Life, and it almost took him out. I played there 2 times, and that same cymbal stand fell both times I played there. So it's like, all right, now it's the big rack with the big.
Now it's the rack.
The big drums.
But the cool thing was we caught it on video, so every time we watch it, I'm like, hey, you almost killed me.
Yeah.
That's right.
Relax over
right.
there.
That's great.
Amy, we didn't get to ask you about bass rig, did we? Did we talk about your rig?
No.
What do you got?
So I have a bunch, as you can see. Most of this back here.
Yeah, I see an
you can see
an Ampeg back there.
Lots of I do Ampeg. I've got the fridge.
The 810. That's the 810 back there.
Yep, I've got an 810 and I've got the split too.
Nice.
So it's the 1-2 split here. You got
What's
the
that?
Ampeg
Music
over
Man
there.
Head. That's a Music Man Head.
Music Man Head, yeah. So most of for those, that's usually for AC/DC tribute when we were doing that. For my Dirty Holly, my other band, we're doing Ampeg, more of an Ampeg sound.
Yeah.
For this band though, definitely Mesa all the way.
Mesa, both.
Wow.
We both use Mesas. And I love Mesa. I use Mesa also for the Siamese Dream as well. And it's just, and tone wise, that's my love. I mean, I love the Ampeg is classic, but you want something new, to me, newer sounding, edgier, just with that Mesa.
Bottom.
The bottom with the crispy, crunchy top. That's so for bass, that's you don't want a lot of just, to me, like woofing and fuzzing out where you can't really just decipher stuff. So
because Amy uses a lot of distortion. She uses a lot of distortion on bass. So.
That was my next question. Are you using a preamp of some type going into the heads?
So I use actually 3 preamps before it goes into the head. So easily the Mesa handles that, whereas these older amps tend to not. So that's kind of also solid state versus the tubes. I use, my main one is the bass driver Sans amp.
Oh yeah.
And I will say, if anybody new, again, if you're just getting into this and people say, what's the best thing to buy for a bass player? Sans amp bass driver.
With the yellow writing on it. Yeah, that was
period. Tech 21.
I don't remember which podcast it was, but I said the exact same thing. I said, if you're going to be a bass player and you're starting, that's your preamp to start with. So you go bass driver into what?
So that's at the very end, actually.
Oh, wow.
So I use that as a DI as well, because what I'll typically do is give the front of the house or the sound man the feed off of the bass pedals, the pedal board itself,
XLR.
Straight out of the DI. And then I use my amp almost as a sound in the back monitor thing.
Yeah.
But this goes back to treat your sound man well, because he's pretty much got his hands on a lot of that and going to make you sound good. But they prefer that. It's a clean signal. You're getting straight what exactly you mean for it to be, at least in my head. I know a lot of people, like, if your tone is coming from your amp, that might be a little different, but I typically will use, for the third type of amp, would be a Mark bass.
Right.
I use the little cube Mark bass, and it's just ends up, that becomes a monitor almost. And you're just running through big subs, because the house is going to have usually better, bigger subwoofers than your amp bass is going to have. So it's like, kind of make use of that.
Yeah.
So before the Sans driver, though, I have the Alpha Omega Dark Glass pedal, and that is an EQ as well as a DI, a driver, a distortion, and an equalizer basically. So it kind of also does all of that. So if I'm like hearing something frequency wise, I use that to kind of tweak the wolves or the woo-woos or the whatever's going on with that. Yeah. So I have that, and then I also use a rack mount sans amp rack mount thing.
Okay.
So and the it's the
so the Tech 21 stuff, like in the Tech 21 Sans Amp stuff is just great out of the box. You literally can show up at a gig with a preamp this big and really sound great.
Yeah.
What's the front rig? Rack rig?
So I have another version of that, but I also have a BBE. It's an exciter.
Sonic. Okay.
Yep. A Sonic. Yeah. It's so that also just gives it this dimension. So it's a lot of preamps and driving going on ahead of all that. But that's how I get the tone, and that's how you get your clarifications on the low, so you can still get that low and really get a high. And that's one of the things I learned from Korn, Fieldy. You know, how to do a drop tuning and be that low and still be able to get something you can hear at the top and bottom. So,
sure.
Yeah.
Hey, well, let's take a listen to Hard Way, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about that.
Cool.
All right.
The hard way. Doing it the hard way. Might be some explosions or crazy car chase. Tell me to go one way, go the other way backwards. Might live too fast, but it keeps me feeling younger. Gonna do what I wanna do when I wanna do it. Don't tell me what to do now. I'm doing it the hard way. Don't tell me what to do now. I'm doing it the hard way. Don't tell me what to do now. I'm doing it the hard way. Don't tell me what to do now. I'm doing it the hard way. Don't tell me what to do now. I'm doing it the hard way. Don't tell me what to do now. I'm doing it the hard way. Don't tell me what to do now. I'm doing it the hard way. I'm doing it the hard way.
Man, that's ass kicking right there.
That's vocally modern day Joan Jett. If I
was
ever heard
thinking,
it.
Joan
Yeah.
Jett, I mean, total Joan Jett attitude for sure. Hey, that is Vices of Vanity. That song was Hard Way. You can catch them on the March 12th at they are going on at 5 p.m. down at the 10 High Virginia Highlands. And like I've been saying this whole time of podcast, if you get there at 5:10, you lose. You're gonna miss their
Yeah.
show. So
Yeah,
get
it's
down
true.
to the 10 High
Short
early.
sets.
Yeah, there's music. There's music starting at 12:50 p.m. with Drive 22, and it goes till basically 12:50
Midnight.
a.m.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys realize that we are having a time change on Saturday, so
Oh.
it's gonna
Yeah, it's
feel
gonna
like
suck.
6 p.m. for you guys.
Oh no.
Yeah. That's the other thing we've been mentioning. So
Mm.
What does Hunter play? What's he? Do you know anything about his
Yeah.
gear setup?
He's got a few.
He's got an acrylic. What is it?
He's got like a Ludwig, I think.
Yep.
He's got a
Light.
Tama.
Yeah.
But he likes the acrylic stuff. He likes to
Yeah.
light up the drums.
That's what mine is.
That's what
With these
his
is
is.
gone.
yeah,
I've got
Yeah.
a crush kit, a
All right.
big clear crush kit.
Oh,
this
yeah.
is this is kind of like working out. Like it was like it's supernatural. This guy's a lefty. Your drummer's a lefty. They both like acrylic drums. We can share a drum kit.
Yeah, sounds like we
Yeah.
might have to
Let's
do
do
a
a
show
show.
together.
We need
Another
to-
show.
Yeah, we have to book
Make it
something
happen.
together.
We're gonna do it.
And that is one of the things also that I'm doing is making contacts with all of you guys, and we were talking about trying to do something to bring back the music scene that we used to have. You guys played around Atlanta back in the day. Were you guys around when Buckhead was the place to go and there was live music all over the place? Or
I do remember
That's what I
Buckhead, but it
heard.
wasn't bands.
Yeah.
I think by that point it had kind of devolved into solo acoustic artists.
Yep.
For the most part. I didn't really get into music until I was a lot older. And didn't really start in the scene. Like I said, I started probably about 7 years ago, maybe 8, but that's so anything before that, no.
Yeah.
So I'm a newbie, I
Wow.
guess.
Well,
Yeah, actually, I moved here about 13 years ago, so I missed a lot of that
yeah.
stuff.
Miss all the Metro days, the Nick days, apparently. Missed
Yeah.
a lot of
I know
lot
we
of
didn't
those,
ask.
yeah.
Do you guys use in-ears, or do you just go old school monitor wedge?
Both.
Both.
Yeah.
Both. Yeah. Depends. If it's if we're playing again, if it's quick on and off,
Mhm.
probably not gonna mess with in-ears.
Right.
If we're doing a full, we're headlining,
Yeah, if it's your
maybe
Yeah.
hour and a half or whatever. With Siamese Dream we do it just because it's just so technical.
Did it
So
take a
kinda
while to get
depends.
used to those?
No? Not for me. Mm-mm.
A lot of
no
people-
tracks.
Yeah, a lot of people
I know there's no problem. Any tracks in
Yeah.
this band?
No tracks in this band.
'Cause
We're
I know
working
Not
on
yet.
the Siamese Dream. I'm sure
possibly
there's-
putting some in.
Yeah, but we have worked with tracks with our cover bands and stuff.
Mhm.
Right.
So,
Right.
Yeah.
we like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also I've done a lot of studio recording, so I'm very used to here's your time, here's your click. You,
Yeah.
you stick
Yeah.
to that. So it wasn't weird for me. I was just like, I actually kind of like it
I do
somewhat.
too.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I fought it at first.
I did too.
I fought it at first, and then, I did a lot of church gigs for years, and they went to the click and the guide. The guide track is like the voice of God.
Mhm.
Chorus
Yep.
2,
Yeah.
3,
Oh, yeah.
4.
Yeah.
It's really cool. Which again, coming back to if you're a young band and you're getting it, please do yourself a favor. Practice with a click track, or practice with what I wish I had growing up. I had to learn by a cassette deck, rewind, forward, play, rewind, play. And now what they have on YouTube is give me a backing track in C sharp minor with a blues C sharp minor backing track, and you can just go on to YouTube and start practicing your scales in C sharp minor, or you can
Yeah.
play Dorian. I mean, the amount of
Crazy.
resources that are out there for young players is
It's crazy. I mean, that's kind of how I actually started to really take guitar seriously. I've only been playing guitar seriously for about the same, like maybe 12, 13 years, whatever, however long
Right.
It's been since I was down here, because I had that resource, YouTube. It's like, other than that, I just kind of messed around and did stuff, but I never took it super seriously.
Right.
And then it was like, oh, cool, I can learn this song on this YouTube video. Great. It's, I don't know, it's cool.
yeah.
There's no excuse.
Yeah.
You
So
can learn whenever.
yeah,
That's true.
And it's all right there.
It's
Yeah.
all right there, and it's 24/7.
Yeah.
And it's free.
Right?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
free.
Yeah.
So let's go back to Hard Way. I want to talk a little bit about the song. Whatever snare he was using on that
I was
track,
getting ready.
and that's
You just You're rapid fire, man.
Yeah.
Give a brother a chance.
I was like, man, that's.
I wasn't even done with my my in-ear question.
Well, I got.
I want to say that was a 70s. Oh, what was the kit? Oh,
I don't remember, but it was the studio kit.
Studio kit. It was from like the 70s. And I think it might have been a Ludwig. Might have been.
So maybe like a Black Beauty. Did he like layer any sounds on it? Because
I'm sure there's probably some samples and stuff on there.
It's
Ryan
fat.
Snow produced it, and he is just incredible. And it's funny because he's more of a pop engineer, and he does some really good pop stuff. But like he was like, oh, rock and roll, let's do this.
Yeah, that's such a great mix.
Yeah, that's probably our favorite mix, our favorite just everything. And he really brought that song to life. Like we had it. He didn't really change anything about it, but there was just a few things. Like I think it was a little bit in the kick pattern or something, and then like giving a little bit of space and air and stuff.
Yeah,
and,
let it breathe a little.
and just little things like
the whole like suck it in, suck the sound in, and drop it.
It's great to work with him because he doesn't really change what we're doing, but he's just like, here's a little element here, here's something there, here's this big sound, and it's just like, whoa.
I will say too, like we recorded before they tore it down, and I should have looked this up, the studio, and this is where they had recorded Purple Rain.
Oh yeah,
down in Chambly, so it was a huge drum. I mean, it was just a huge hall, and they had the parquet floors, and the old beef organs all along the wall, and old.
Was that Exoset? Was it
Maybe.
Exoset in Chambly?
I'm not sure.
I don't remember.
Yeah, we recorded in Chambly at some place, and it sounds just like you're talking about a big room and a parquet floor.
It's probably that. I think it was a different name because that doesn't sound familiar, but it was definitely Chambly. It was a huge just hall, like a room, like a hall.
Hunter knows all this stuff.
Yeah, and because we did the drums there, so we basically recorded all the drums there, and there's very little added. That a lot of that is what that room sounded like. That's something you can't really get anymore. I mean, it's kind of sad they tore it down. There's condos there now,
right?
So it's kind of sad. The rest of the stuff was done up at Hewlett Studios in Cumming. And that was done. That was all the bass tracking, guitar.
Where is that studio?
It's in Cumming.
That's where we actually are sitting right now.
Oh no way!
So our music video has us where you see us at that studio and up there, and I make the joke. I'm like, we're in Cumming. We came to Cumming.
It's one exit past Breathing Heavy.
So we did a lot of that there, and that's where that's working with Ryan.
Right.
Crazy.
And the guitar on the rhythm guitar was pretty straight crunch rock and roll guitar. But when you went to the solo, I heard like an octaver in there, and I heard
that was all post. That wasn't I didn't I mean it's they just added that in post. So I don't use it live.
Direct.
I actually do more of a delay, like a delay and reverb.
It was on the bass too, wasn't it?
Octave on the bass? I don't think so. I heard
I don't know, it might have been. I don't know.
Not that I know he added some bass drops here and there, like the big but no, I don't think there was. That was straight through the Mesa emulator.
Yeah, sure.
It's crazy. I sat at the control desk with a DI box, played through the DI box, and that was my take.
Yeah. I know.
Crazy.
It is crazy that you. I mean, most of my tracks that I've ever recorded are sitting in front of the monitor, and in the console room cutting the tracks. Whether I used live amps and they were in an amp room, and that's what we were getting, or if we were just using a Kemper. This whole new record that we just did was literally the Kemper was right here, I was right here, Corey Lowry was right there, and there we go.
Don't even have to almost have that anymore. It's crazy.
So if you're trying to get this is a dumb drummer question. If you're a Mesa Boogie person, and I know, like, there's either really quiet or really loud. There's no in between. There's no middle on a Mesa Boogie amp. Like, you can't turn it up in halfway and get the tone that you want, can you? It's got to be balls out to get the tone you want, don't you?
Kind of.
I don't have that problem with my bass amps, but maybe that's just because it's different. I'm not sure.
Yeah, bass amp might be a little bit different. I mean, I don't even use the amp anymore. Like I said, I use a Podgo and a Helix.
Yeah.
So
Okay,
it's
so
kind of like, that's great because again, I mean, you can have this whole debate, but it's like the amount of control you get with these units is just crazy.
That
And
makes sense.
again, it makes the sound guys happy every time I show up to a show. So
Sure.
I'm like, cool.
Yeah.
And that's also where it's like, going direct into that SansAmp, and essentially I'm getting most of all my tone directly out of my board.
Right.
Where that's not really even in there. And then one of the great things about the SansAmp and like I said, the Alpha Omega and all that, I can control the volume. I mean, it's such a fine-tuned way to control EQs, volume, boost, bass, treble, whatever on your board itself.
Right.
And what you're giving them, you can literally mid whatever adjust that and do whatever you got to do without going to the amp behind you or whatever else has to happen. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't really dealt with that. I do use the amp itself with Siamese Dream because we're emulating Smashing Pumpkins
Right.
from the 90s. So I use the big block, the Mesa big block with the 810.
Wow.
When I can, and then I have a 410 that I use with a smaller unit, a Subway right now. And that one you want to get, we have to drive it, but he's also using like a Mesa, not a Mesa. He's using the Marshall with he actually has the head that was recorded, that Triclops Studio,
Wow.
that was recorded on the Siamese Dream album.
Wow.
So it's been modded. So, but that, he has to, everything's got to be up loud
Yeah.
for that band.
Yeah,
So it's
Unfortunately,
half and half.
when you're playing, an amp like that, it only gets to sounding proper when it's
At 11.
nearly dying.
When it's warmed up,
and half the time, half the time you can't even do that. Like even
Right.
if you're playing a big
Right.
venue like
That's
Buckhead
it.
Theater or the Masquerade or whatever,
like turn down.
you're still like, well, you're at like 1.5, and you're like, what?
Right.
That's why I'm like, dude, just
That's
use
too much
like,
stage volume. Yeah.
Hey, to be honest, 90% of the time you can't really even do that. Like unless you're playing literally, a music midtown outdoor type of stage.
Yeah.
Yep.
You can't really get those things to where they can
Yeah, you
breathe.
can't crank them.
Right.
Yeah.
Does he use a power soak, or has he ever considered using a power soak?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're back and forth. I mean, typically though, with that band, we are playing music midtown size festivals and,
Right.
and those sides of crowds. So it's you're playing that side.
Well, and you're a
stage.
tribute, so I feel like you kind of have to have that kind of gear and
Right.
stuff like that.
And
So
also
it's-
there's an aspect of we just turn it up and tough luck, y'all. But that's what the Pumpkins did.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
this is so some point you also gotta be like, well, that's gonna be how it happens. But I'd say for everything else, Vices even, we really don't bring big amps. We keep it small and we run them off the boards.
Yeah, they'll be like backline, and we're like, oh, I'm just like, here's
Yeah.
my pedal board.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
give me an XLR and I'm good.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and then it's just like, all right, time to go.
Yeah.
No.
I'd say just be versatile, just
Yeah.
be kind of versatile.
Yeah.
Sound and tone is important. And, but there are ways of getting that if you take the time to really dial that stuff in, or there's equipment out there now, there's tech out there now that you can get pretty dang close, and just be versatile,
Right. So we just heard Hard Way. Is that where are you hosting that? Is that on Spotify or is that where?
Yeah.
Okay.
All the things.
everywhere.
Whatever it is, it's on there probably.
Right. And who manages that? Who manages? Do you have a website and socials? Who manages that?
We do.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Probably
guess-
mostly Lynnay, though.
Yeah.
I help sometimes somewhat I like doing graphic stuff. I like doing a lot of the posters and the graphics and the stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah.
So obviously, as well as I do that it would take us 30 million streams to make $150 on Spotify, something like that.
Yeah.
All right.
How do you, or where do you? I mean, obviously, you said you play covers to pay the bills, right? With your original project, is there ever paying the bills? Question mark.
Well, not really, but we kind of don't really look at it like that. You know, it's sort of like we do the cover stuff to make connections and get better at the craft, and then it's like, if we do make money, cool. I mean, we do okay with merch, but still, it's like we're not playing enough shows to pay the bills anyway. You know, but we're also, we're not on tour. And again, even if we were on tour, money, it's kind of a catch-22. Like, are you going to come out and make money? Are you going to lose money? Are you going to break even? So it's just kind of, and I feel like that changes like the project when it starts to really become about money. So it's like we could do the cover stuff, we can experiment, we can, like I said, meet people, network, and then that leaves us open to be like, okay, we can put our passion into this and we don't have to worry about like, oh, we got to pay the bills, we got to do this,
Yeah.
Do you guys have any videos out for any of the tunes?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, we have quite a few.
we have quite a few videos.
Nice.
Okay.
I'd say if you want something that's just really fun to watch, Drink Drunk is
Drink, drunk.
Drink
Drunk.
Yeah, that
It's-
one's fun.
It's funny.
It's
The Atlanta
what?
burlesque, like
I think
I don't
I
know,
actually
half
looked
the
that
Atlanta
one up.
burlesque
Did
scene
you?
is in there, and
Yeah.
we just, I don't know, it's just silly. It's just
ODD.
funny.
Who's in there, did you say?
Our brothers ODD are in there.
Oh yeah, I know
Oh, yeah.
ODD and those
Yeah,
guys.
Gunny, they're
Yeah.
what Secret Weapon
Yeah,
now? Like
yeah,
Gunny's in
um,
that.
I tried to
Yeah.
get them
They're
on.
playing.
Yeah, I tried to get them on. They're going to be playing Secret Weapon. Gunny's band will be playing at 2:30 on Sunday the 12th at the 10 High. So again, why not show up early? Check out
Be there.
Secret Weapon, Matthew, and then Vices of Vanity. The videos now. Do you host those on YouTube? Do you have a YouTube
Yeah.
channel?
Yeah, we have a
Yes.
YouTube channel. It's
Okay.
it's Vices of Vanity, whatever.
Okay.
YouTube.com/Vices of Vanity.
Right. All right. So we're going to check that out for sure.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about your experiences shooting the videos? And is that almost as much fun as writing and recording the music?
I guess it depends on the video.
Yeah, we've had different people make different videos. So we don't like
We
have
kind of always used Evan for the most part. Evan Fowler from Apolog Media was kind of the center, and then we've had different people edit and different people kind of like direct and
get
stuff.
the footage
But
and whatnot.
I think it took us a while. Like once we got to Drink Drunk, we'd already done 2 or 3 videos with him, so we kind of were like, hey, we need to be a little bit more prepared because we did one at a skate park
right.
for
Oh,
like
wow.
Loud,
Nice.
which was like
It was fun,
national,
but
you know, I mean, it's like actual, you know, what is it, government property. So we really
Right.
weren't supposed to be filming there
Right.
without permission. So we
which,
did it
by the
anyway.
way, Cure My Enemy, they were there.
Yeah, Cure My Enemy was in that,
And,
yeah.
Yep, the skateboarder. Yeah.
Okay. Hey, that's awesome. So again, that now
Yeah.
we're talking about, you know, different local bands that are, you know, Cure My Enemy just was talking about how Gunny was in their video, and
Yeah.
you know
Yeah.
they're in
Yeah,
your
we
video, and
Yeah.
Yes.
Uh,
We share all of
Yeah.
that. But yeah, that one was definitely
Well, we
kind of
threw-
chaotic.
Yeah, we threw it together. And, oh no, let's do like a pop-up show at a skate park and just, I don't
It
know,
took
skateboard
so
and
long.
like whatever, and we'll just record it. And it worked.
It worked.
That was
Wow.
kind of the theme of the video, but
It was, but it took
very-
a very long time.
Yeah, it was-
And I'll say it was because we didn't storyboard. We didn't really plan it. So we
were just
started
like, we'll just show up and
early in the morning.
yeah,
But the problem then
and try
is
not to get like the cops to come.
that, and then the
That's happened
sun
to us
started.
before.
The
Yeah.
sun changed.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh,
so
yeah.
now
Yeah, the
the
lighting
whole-
was different.
the lighting was
Yeah.
completely different by the time
Yeah.
we shot the last scene. It's like, well, this is not how it was supposed to go. But
Yeah.
yeah. So that was a little stressful.
yeah.
I don't know. That one was
So it was
definitely
like-
stressful.
We had Hardway, which was kind of a behind the scenes. So we had Evan come in and he took a lot of footage and stuff.
Mm.
And then, you know, somebody else edited that. And so then we're like, oh, cool. We'll just make that into a video.
Yeah.
And then like we did Loud and we were like, oh, no, no, we'll just do this and we'll
Yeah.
just wing it. And then we were like, oh, might not have, you know, we didn't, you know, you could tell it was kind of put together like that. So then when we got actually with Drink Drunk, we had a different schedule we had a different date scheduled for the actual video shoot.
Yeah.
And then last minute we were like, we got to cancel because we're not prepared. Like we're not
Oh,
going to do
wow.
this again. And
Right.
so then I want to say
Yeah.
it was maybe like 2 months later, but we actually did a storyboard and
Right.
really figured things out. And
Yeah.
then kind of when you see that one, you're like, oh, okay, there's like a
Yeah.
symmetry. It kind of like goes.
And that was
into it.
fun. That was
And that was really
it was a
fun.
long, but I mean, it
Yeah.
was much more controlled. It was inside.
Yeah.
It was part of it too. Shooting outside versus inside is a whole
Yeah,
another
it's scary.
discussion.
we shot
Yeah.
we shot a video the day we were leaving for a tour, a long
yeah.
tour, and we got permission from the owner of this area we were in, and we got 95% done literally on the last shot, and cops showed up and said,
Cool.
and this is a national band, and we had to do the same thing. We're chasing the sun. We're like, this has to get done
Yeah.
today. It cannot
Right.
not get done today. So we had to
Yeah.
move locations, you know, less than a half a mile away, and we got it done.
Man.
But yeah, it's nerve wracking, and it wasn't
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
So,
one was
so the
not.
takeaway from this is get clearance, get permits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were shooting a video on what turned out to be federal
okay,
land,
Yeah.
Pullman Yard before they remodeled.
Oh
it.
yeah, we were talking about doing some photos.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
we were in there. We were filming probably from about 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning, and then around noon was the drum shots. And so when you put a set of acoustic drums in that building, start firing them up,
Right.
It
And we had
draw-
that.
it draws some
that's-
attention.
Yeah.
Yep, that's when we started the drum part, and
Yeah.
we're like, okay, well, we got a drum.
Yeah.
You can't fake drum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the police came at about 12:30,
Ooh.
and we were in jail by 3:30,
Oh wow!
yeah?
and
Oh,
we didn't
man.
we didn't get out of jail until about 11:30, and I had tickets to
Oh,
Godsmack
man.
that night.
Oh man.
I was
Oh, that's
mad.
crazy.
So get your permits. That's lesson 1. Lesson 2 is be organized and storyboard.
Yes.
Have your stuff together, and then when you guys are doing the video, I think this is kind of a standard thing. We've always done it, but like you'll have a PA or some sort of way to pipe the music in that you're playing
Yeah.
to.
Well, you have to do that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and then like you said, if it's outdoors, you got to chase the light. And but videos, I think videos are almost as much fun as the writing and recording of the song.
Mhm.
But you have to start. It accesses a different creative part of your mind to think of us. Okay, well, you can write a song about drink, drank, drunk, and then you need to kind of come up with something that that goes in, and we're gonna watch that. And if it's okay, we may even put it on the end of the video to
Yeah,
the
sure.
podcast.
It's awesome. It's funny.
So
It's good.
yeah, that's awesome.
Only Gunny was hurt in the filming of that.
Yeah. So yeah, actually, it was like pretend like you're fighting them on stage to get them off the stage, and I like all my momentum fell, and I ended up almost like punching him in the face, and so you see the whole thing almost. And so yeah, only Gunny got hurt during the making of that video.
Yeah. Oh, good.
Sorry.
I blew
Gunny.
up a drum set in one video where I had to
Light
put
it on fire.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We lit it up with, I forget what I put on it, but we had to put it out, spark it up again, put it out, spark it up again.
Oh man.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
crazy. That's crazy. Speaking of Gunny, I'll have to say that ODD was one of my favorite bands. When they played
Say
with,
never played with them. We
Yeah.
played with them, I don't know,
Anchor played with them.
4 years ago.
I know Dave moved down to Florida, right?
Mhm.
And I think Gunny's in Secret Weapon, and I think he's still doing That's What She Said or something like that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
And I believe they're actually playing Mad Life coming up soon too. But
That's a cover band, isn't it?
yeah. Really good players, really good dudes. But I can't say enough about those guys. So kind of landing this plane, kind of bringing this thing in. Do you have any ideas and ways that we can continue to try and grow and support the local band scene? And what can we do to kind of help each other to get them out there?
Without opening our own venue,
Yeah.
which is
Sure,
just original bands only.
Yeah.
I guess I'll talk a little bit on that because I'll probably do. I try to do a lot. My vision was like when I came up on the scene, and again, this is right before COVID, so about 2 or 3 years before COVID. And I was like, there was stuff happening, and things were starting to move. And then all of a sudden it just disappeared. And this is even before COVID was even possibly a thing.
Yeah.
And so it was just the natural state of where the music scene was in Atlanta, I feel. And I'm like, what happened? Where's the scene that everybody keeps talking about? What happened? And so I was like, all right, well, what I want to see that. So the way to do that is to personally try to make that happen,
Right.
each individual to try to make that happen. So what are the things that I could do to try to make that happen? And one of the things was that I do a lot, and I still do, is basically try to attend as many shows as you can. And I know that's hard for some people, and they got to get up early in the mornings, and I get all that. And there's all of that. But, if that's the case, just kind of be thoughtful and maybe somewhat thinking about, strategic, I guess is the word for that. So use your time wisely. Obviously, you can't hit every live show that there is.
Right.
But if you're trying to cultivate, as an example for my punk band, we just did a show, and we had like 5 other Atlanta punk bands come out as a band to that show.
Right.
And it's crazy. And that's one of the things I'm trying to build is like the punk scene back up again.
Right.
And I'm trying to, I was trying to do that with the rock scene. I think we have a little bit more to go with the rock scene. The metal scene is kind of there already, and that isn't as hard, but I definitely think the rock scene is super super hard right now. It's and it's gonna take that, but it's also gonna take a couple of bands to really
Right.
be like, I'm kind of like we are the leaders, or we are the forerunners, or whatever it is, to create that scene somewhat as well. So that's going to be like, making, like, putting together really good bills,
Right.
playing really good shows that people are like, this is an experience. This isn't just a bunch of local bands getting up there on stage in their cargo shorts.
Right.
This is like, this is a whole
It's a show.
thing,
Right.
and every band is putting on a show
and bringing people as well.
bringing
like really,
people.
like, I think that's a big thing too.
Even if
like
it's a few
advertising,
people.
getting people out to those shows to
Yeah.
also see the other band. So if everybody's bringing like 20 people,
Right.
whoa, now it's a show, and then
And that goes, the advertising, and that goes together with this, is
Yeah.
where it's like we found lately, which is kind of really nice. This is something that didn't usually happen, but we'll have a band post about the show or the flyer, and then usually a couple other bands on the bill will either post about the same time, or like a few days later somebody else will post that flyer, and then a few more days somebody else will post that flyer. And it just kind of just keeps getting up on different people's feeds all the
Right.
time. And that seems to really help too. So it's not like just put your one thing out and hope for the best,
Yeah.
or create your event and invite people, because that's all dead now. So you've got to, it's just kind of like organic.
Yeah.
Don't not be organic about it.
You got to pump
message
each other's
people
tires.
personally.
Yeah. You got to
Like, do
pump each
stuff
other's
personally.
tires, and that's kind of what we were doing with, that's what we're trying to do with this channel, is like, post the podcast, and then Rick shares it to another band. I share it to another band,
And they tell two friends,
Yeah,
and
they-
so on
yeah.
and so on.
Exactly.
Word of mouth.
Yeah.
Word of mouth, man.
That's it.
And that's what people are wanting now, is word of mouth. Is, my friend said, and actually I had somebody come up to the show on Wednesday and was like, I had a friend tell me about y'all, that we needed to come out and check y'all out, and here we are.
Yeah.
And that's what it's going to take, is get people out of their houses. They're going to want to be seen as well. So I think, like, Lynnay, you do a really good job with this. It's just like, when they're there, make them, welcome them, talk to them, shake their hands.
Get their name. Hey, let's, make them feel like,
Be
hey,
personal.
you got to be personal. I mean, you really have to be personal. I feel like it's so easy to just be like, oh, come to my show.
Yeah.
Here's a flyer. It's like, make it personal. Even if you're like with your post, like, I'll see engagements on posts where I'll like, there's, hey, I'm playing here. Here's the time. Here's whatever. Okay. But then it's like, if I have a story behind it, or like, hey man, this venue really means a lot to me because blah, 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 blah. I don't know. It's like you kind of you're getting a little bit of personal with that. And then I'll also go through and be like, individually message people, be like, hey, and it's not a copy paste post, you know what I mean?
Right.
Or, but it's just like, hey dude, haven't seen you since blah, 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 blah. Miss your face. Like, I don't know. Like, again, make
Anything,
it personal. And it's like the difference between just like, people know when it's a mass thing,
Right.
and they know when it's personal. And when you just make it personal, it's just, you have more of a chance of getting them out, but it also makes them feel special, because what is music? Music is an experience, and we're all sharing an experience in this moment of time. So, that's the whole kind of point of it. I feel like, and then when you just kind of do this mass thing, like, here's the 4,000 people on my, friends list, come to my show. It's like, well, whatever,
Yeah.
And
but
that-
when you're like, hey,
And that goes real quick to, like, that's how you create a scene. To me,
Right.
it's the personal connections. It's what you've done with these shows and shown that you're there to support also, and as well, but also like, hey, let's make it a social thing. People want to feel loved. People want to feel seen. People want to feel
they want to be a part of something.
Part of something.
Part of
yeah.
something.
That's what it is.
You have to pay attention to, like, even on your Facebook page, you have a fan page, but then you have your personal page, and you don't want to fill it up with 5,000 people. Then you have to start another one or whatever, boot people.
Yeah.
But you have to make sure, like, you have to pay attention on who's trying to friend you.
Right.
Because that might be somebody that came to your show that thought you just kicked ass, and they want to be a part. It's like you said, be a part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is a little scary sometimes, friending some people.
Well, you
that-
just have to pay
yeah.
attention, kind of
Yeah.
look at their page and see.
I look at like mutual, mutual
that's what I
friends.
look at,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sort of like, did they hit me up initially beforehand? Because a lot of them will.
Right,
You
yeah.
just got to know, you got to go to that filter and,
Right,
and
yeah.
find the filtered messages. But a lot of them are like, hey, I actually just had that today. And it was like, hey, I came from out of state. I heard about you guys. I saw y'all.
Yeah.
And I just think you're amazing. And I'm like, cool, friend. Okay, we
Yep.
can do that. You know.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that we've been talking about, do you know the guys in BSOL? You ever played
Yes.
with them?
Played with them quite a bit.
Yeah. So CC, you know, I've known him for a long time, and one of the things that we were talking about was maybe finding a venue that we can work with to do once a month proper showcases where, you know, with a great bill, 3 bands, 2 bands, and really be able to stretch out and play your set or you do your show, but doing it kind of you know, religiously every
building that.
every third weekend or whatever it is. So that's the kind of thing that we're kind of looking at maybe trying to do down the road here. We're just trying to get through personally myself. We're playing 5 brand new songs that we just recorded, and I'm still learning the songs. So I'm just trying to get through this weekend, and I'm also doing 9 podcasts in 2 weeks to get ready for the show. So
crunching.
So after this week and getting through this show, I really want to put together some sort of I don't know, board of directors of rock and roll, and of you know, like maybe you and Amy and CC and me, and just
social club.
But being diligent about doing what we're talking about. You know, like okay, well, let's contact this venue. Hey, we'll do an exclusive show here every month or bi-monthly, whatever we can get on a proper night, and then like you said, getting a circle of our band. I mean, everybody that's been on the podcast in the past 9 shows has been A, pro, B, great people to talk to. I haven't had any really anything like ego or any of that kind of stuff.
No egos at all.
You want us to start breaking stuff and be like,
I was gonna say, wait a minute.
set things on.
Yeah.
Now you said it.
Yeah, that is true. But anyway, but you know, kind of doing something like that. So if you guys would be down to being part of that, it sounds like you already are
Absolutely
the same mindset. Then let's continue these discussions and these chats with a deliberate plan.
Yeah, we talked about after this actually having in studio.
Yeah.
Bands in studio to play live.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That's a thing now.
Then do a
that's
live
definitely-
podcast right after.
Yeah, that's the thing. It was kind of what we were talking about doing. So you guys are already on it.
Yeah.
It's
You can see, I mean, it's the perfect setup.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
When I put this thing together, well, A, I needed a studio, but B, I was like, you know what I want to do like a Austin City Limits type show where I bring in bands, and this was really kind of the tail end of COVID. I was like, I think that might be the future is like these live
Daryl's
stream
house.
things. Yeah, Daryl's house.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I was, you know, initially putting together, and you know, this just gave me a reason. The showcase gave me a reason to actually get to work and make it happen. You know, so. But we look forward to seeing you guys on the 12th, March 12th at 5 p.m. The 10 High down at Virginia Highlands, and Vices of Vanity are going to go on, and they're going to light it up hard.
Slay it.
Yeah,
I can
know
tell.
they are. Yeah.
Do it the hard way.
Hey guys, thanks for coming on the show, and
appreciate it.
And let's keep in touch and do work.
For sure. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
All right, stick on the line here, and we'll
right.
talk to you after. Hold on.
Okay.
All right.
You're watching the Original Music Atlanta podcast.